ANC is celebrating 107 years since its formation in 1912. The oldest liberation movement on the continent played a crucial role in bringing democracy to South Africa in 1994. The party has since, of course, seen much said that much has been achieved, and to discuss how the ANC sees itself ahead of the launch this coming Saturday of its election manifesto for the May elections, I'm joined by the ANC's head of policy, Jeff Radebe, from our Durban studios. Mr. Radebe, good evening. Thanks very much for your time. I have no doubt if the statements made by the ANC president on Tuesday are anything to go by, that you'll be going to that manifesto launch on Saturday very reassured, even cocky perhaps, as some people would say.
Good evening, Vuyo, and all your viewers of ANC8. Definitely the president has sensed the mood of the people very well, as we've been crisscrossing this province since we arrived here about a week ago. It is very clear that the mood is exhilarating. People are fully behind the African National Congress as the president is ready to deliver the election manifesto on Saturday. We are very satisfied that our people are listening to the ANC, and we as the ANC have listened to the people, and we're committing ourselves to do everything that is necessary to improve the quality of life of all South Africans.
But by the president's own admission, corruption remains a big problem. Of course, you have, in many respects, including the issue of the protection of the most vulnerable. We're talking here about women and children in particular.
Yes, indeed. Corruption is a cancer that must be uprooted from South African society. Fighting corruption is not only the role of government, but it is a responsibility of all South Africans to ensure that wherever it rears its ugly head, it must be chopped off. You recall that the president organized recently that gender-based violence summit, where commitments were made to ensure that all of our people, especially men, must change their attitude. As the president said at the time, boys and men must not use our girls and women as footballs. They need to be protected because they are naturals of South African society. So we want to ensure that we create a massive anti-gender violence campaign in South Africa, so that that disease, that cancer must also be uprooted from our society.
But then again, I mean, as we have come to know, when South Africans go to the polls, I don't know if people really read manifestos. But we know for a fact what your performance has been like over the years, and we know for a fact how complacent you have become as the ANC over the years. You keep on the eve of elections, telling us that you'll be paying attention to these things, and you just never do. What's going to be different this time around?
Well, our people read manifestos, as you remember, that even this coming one manifesto, even though it's a bulky document by any standard, but we do summaries and the key points, and our people listen to the key messages that the president and all leaders of the National Executive Committee deal with these issues amongst the people of South Africa. It is not true that we have not improved the quality of life because of our commitments in the manifesto. If you look in the past 25 years of our democracy, South Africa has changed for the better. Our economy has tripled. The issue of providing better health care for our people, the educational outcomes are improving. As my colleague, Minister Angie Motshekga, indicated about a week ago, the matric pass rate has increased to about 78.2%. So all these achievements are indicative that the policies of the ANC, emanating also from the manifestos, the commitments since Mandela in 1994, are indeed improving the quality of life. Of course, we have not achieved everything that we have set out ourselves to do, But we have to renew ourselves as an organization to ensure that we accelerate this provision of basic services to our people.
But how much of what you have not been able to do is owed to the fact that you have treated wrongdoers among and within your ranks with kid gloves?
No, we have not treated wrongdoers within our ranks with kid gloves. If you look, former chairperson of the Northern Cape province of the ANC and former MEC of Finance has been convicted of corruption and is currently serving 15 years in jail. By any stretch of imagination, that cannot be said were very soft. There is a commission of inquiry that has been set by the President, the Zondo Commission, the New Den Commission on SARS. There are many, many other initiatives. Every day our courts, commercial courts, are convicting people of corruption. So the responsibility of pointing out the people who are corrupt, because in corruption, it always takes two to tango. There must be a public official as well as a private sector person that is involved in that corruption. Our people, they know who the people are corrupt, their neighbors, and so on and so forth. So it is our responsibility as ordinary South Africans to point out these things and for law enforcement agencies to ensure that the law takes its course.
But then, I mean, you have people who have been the chief enablers of what has gone wrong, especially over the past 8 to 10 years, sitting there among you and actually leading in your election campaigns. I mean, everything that has happened over the past 8 years, at least, has happened under a former President Jacob Zuma's watch. And there he is leading your campaigns. What, signal are you sending then to South Africans?
No, Vuyo, you remember that there is a commission of inquiry led by Deputy Chief Justice Zondo that is unfolding in Johannesburg. Let's await the outcome of those commissions. And I can assure you that in the spirit of renewal, we're going to be ensuring that we leave no stone unturned, that any wrongdoer can be brought to book, as I've demonstrated with this one example that I've shown with John Block from Northern Cape.
But should we solely rely on a state capture commission to actually make sure that something is done, to make sure that wrongdoers are brought to book? How about sending very strong signal that may well be symbolic, for example, but ones that make sure that there are no ambiguities, about the ANC's decision to be intolerant of wrongdoing and the people who perpetrate it?
Well, we are indeed intolerant of corruption. If you remember recently, the VBS saga, where Senior Counsel Motau indicated the people were implicated in that huge scandal in Limpopo province. The Integrity Commission of the ANC wasted no time in pointing out certain members, in fact, even leading members of the ANC in Limpopo. They have set aside. They've ensured that they are no longer involved in the activities of the ANC while the process of law enforcement continues in the courts of South Africa. That indicates the steps that the organization, the ANC, is taking to bring to book all those who have done things in a wrong way.
Before I let you go, Mr. Radebe, my colleague Aldrin St-Pierre spoke today to Sendiso Makaka's mother, his siblings and friends. They are unhappy. As all of you have descended on Durban, they are still asking questions that they have been asking for more than a year now as to who killed Sandiso, why, and they do believe that whoever did it comes from within your ranks. Your comment?
We have condemned in no uncertain terms the careless murder of our comrade Sindiso Makaka, and I do hope that law enforcement officers led by our energetic Minister of Police, those that are suspected of this murder will be brought to book. So I believe that the police will do everything within their power to ensure that that family of Comrade Makaka can be rest assured that justice will be meted out to those who are guilty of this heinous crime.
Mr. Radebe, thanks very much for your time this evening. The ANC's head of policy, Jeff Radebe, ahead, of course, of that election manifesto launch that is due to take place in Durban on Saturday.